Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. So this Vibhuti Yoga, we continue and see what happens here. So we stopped at 22, I think. Yes. Vedanam samavedosmi devanam asmi vasavaham indriyanam manaschasmi bhutanam asmi chetanam. Of all the Vedas, I am Samaveda, says Krishna. So if we take all four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, and Samaveda, Samaveda is his Vibhuti, his manifestation. Samaveda is unique in one particular regard, that actually the text of Samaveda is 85% Rigvedic text. Yes? It's not really very original in that sense, but it has a totally different way of recitation. It's more singing, yes. And many people say that the whole music theory came from Samaveda. It has, instead of 3 tones as we have, maybe we have more than 3 in the Rigvedic recitation, yes, there's Agni Mihile, 3 tones. So it has more than 5, sometimes 7 tones. Yeah? So, and it is very stretching, the text. Some of you may have heard from Samaveda, yes? Om, something like this. Instead of Agni Mihile, they will say many times until it is Agni. Yeah? So they would be stretching it in time. And I was thinking for years why they do this. What's the purpose of kind of stretching the text so long? And then I kind of got it that on the level of heaven, where Samaveda belongs, because each Veda belongs to some part of creation. Rig Veda to earth, Yajur Veda to space between heaven and earth, and Samaveda to heaven. Then in heaven, the earthly text would sound in that way. It has a different sense of time and perception, so to say. So if I translate it from the heavenly reading to our earthly ear, that would be the way how Samaveda framed it. It's quite amazing to think of that in this way. So it's a heavenly Veda. Yeah? It's Rigveda in heavens. And we know that Vishnu and Krishna belong to this overmental realm, Svar world. Yeah? The world of the birth of the gods and godheads. All of them come from that world. So it's appropriate to think of it not as a Rig Veda, but as Samaveda. Devanamasmi Vasava. And among the gods, among again gods is another term. Deva is shining beings, beings emitting light, emanating light. Among those I am Vasava. And Vasava is the name from Vasu, as you know. Yes, it also can be Agni, or it can be belonging to the Vasu from which he comes, his family. Vasudeva was his father. So he is Vasudeva. So from root Vas to shine again. I'm shining Vasava from all the shining beings, yeah, or from all the gods. Indriyanam, among all the senses, or among the Indriyas, Manas Jasmi, I am Manas. And it's quite clear because Manas is the that point, focal point, which synthesizes Indriyas. So whenever you want to direct your Indriya and fix upon any object of sense, Manas will be essential for this choice. If I want to concentrate my hearing on something, I concentrate, and that is the Manas which is doing. Or seeing, I select one particular frame or particular subject, object, I fix my sight on it. And that is because of capacity of Manas. As Yajnavalkya would say, it is not by ear that you hear, but by the mind. It's not by the eye that you hear, but by Manas. So Manas is that capacity of consciousness to fix itself upon any object of sense. And then senses will follow. Bhutanamasmi chetana, and I am the consciousness chetana of all the becomings, or all the beings. Bhuta is usually translated as the being because that is what have become. Actually, it is perfect participle passive voice, have become. And many times it is translated as elements or the beings, bhutas. There is a term even in English which is not translated as spirits. No. But if in the direct sense, it's the beings, all living beings, all those who have become something here, got the body, got some formation of energy. Among them, I am consciousness. Of all the becomings, I am the consciousness, Chetana. The word Chetana is also very unique. If we look from the point of view of Sri Aurobindo's etymological interpretation of the terms, as you know, most probably I spoke about this already, about chit, chi, yeah, ruchi, chinoti, chinute, from which chit is produced. Chit as consciousness is the capacity to pay attention, to focus. Yeah? Focusing. It's like manas for indriyas. Chetana is the capacity to choose onto what to focus your consciousness. One-pointedness. So this, I would say, even free will to choose on what to focus your attention, to what to pay attention. Paying attention, we can translate Chetana. So we can, all the becomings, all the beings who are born have this capacity to pay attention to certain things, objects of sense and images. So that capacity to pay attention to whatever is a Vibhuti of Krishna in this world.
Excuse me, Vladimir, can we clarify this point about chit? Because yes, what I understood of the meaning of mind is the capacity to know through identification of what you focus. You focus on an object, then you can know from the identification. This is what I understood is the definition of the mind. And I don't feel many difference between chit and mind. Could be chit mind as well?
Yes, by the way, chintayati, to think, chit, many times chintamastu in the later language is translated as the mental capacity, but there is a subtle difference. Which is not totally obvious. Manas is from root man, to form. So by selection of a particular formation in the, you are forming it or you are holding it into to be in that form. So it's more formative power of mind is more forming or cutting out particular form or shape or context of your attention. Power of attention is in consciousness rather than in the mind. Mind is more instrumental to that power. They are doing the same thing at the end, especially with regard to indriyas. Indriyas are the faculties which will follow the manas, but chetana is higher. It's more like buddhi or something. Yeah? It's the capacity to be aware of, to pay attention to, in capacity rather than the activity. I do not know whether it is enough to explain this way.
I had two questions on man. Of course, mantra, manu. Manu is the, you said is the what do you call it, the typal being. He's thought of as the progenitor of the humanity, but it's really more of the human type. Is that correct?
Yeah, Manu, yes, it's actually aham manurabhavam. Even everybody quotes this from Vamadeva. I became Manu, Surya, and Surya. So Manu is the I would say the being of free will. Yes. So to say, mind gives us the capacity to choose the activities, to shape it as we like it. Yeah.
Well, it gets shaped by the indriyas.
Indriyas well, they're working with the mind. That's why mind is called the sixth sense also, it's like, but mind is kind of holding and directing them. It's like a organizer of indriyas to work, It's like small organizer, so to say.
Orchestra conductor, properly used.
Some kind of, yes.
Now, does that also give rise to
small boss?
Gives rise to mantra, but also does it give rise to matra, to measure?
These four roots, man and ma, are closely related. Yes, definitely.
So they're different roots, but related.
Well, they're from the same family, yes?
Yeah.
You will see that ma with long a, and it's always constantly in Sanskrit. Whenever you have root with long a, and then you can have root with shorter a and nasal. For example, ya to go and yam to restrain, or here like ma to measure and man to think. To measure and to think. Look how closely they are related. Thinking and measuring, because they are from mother, from here. Mother, the one who shapes the being, who brings the being into creation. From here, Maya, another word, the one who creates the forms of the manifestation, and later is considered to be the power of illusion, because the forms are kind of illusory in that philosophy. They are not illusory, but illusory in terms of the spirit behind them. Spirit is more real, and they are only the formations in time and space.
And there are other word groupings like the tantrics like to talk of yantra, tantra, and mantra, the three tools. Is that yan, short a, and that does it create a certain transformation of the verb root?
It's from yam, yes, to restrain, to furnish, also to give a particular shape, yantra. It's interesting suffix tra, which we find in many other words, like matri, datri. This tri suffix transformed into tram, mainly in the neuter, but sometimes also in the masculine gender. But tra is interesting. It's like giving it an activity. So mantra is like carrying the mind, let us say. I will kind of spell it out, yeah. Or yantra, carrying the capacity to furnish, or the arrangement, making the arrangement so it becomes the tool, yeah. Or tantra, tan is to spread, so carrying the capacity to spread, that means the thread, you know, the pulling, making it pulled, as it were. It's quite amazing that Sanskrit grammar is so precise and so readable in a way that you don't need to know the meaning from the dictionary, yeah? Once you know how it functions. So these man, ma, are family. Yeah? Mi, mu, mri, this is the family of roots with different vowels, but ma and man are the closest. And manu and manushya from here, mind and man. Man is a mental being, yes. The same mind and man in English, they are closely related to this mentality and mind and man. Yeah, it's amazing how everything is connected. Yes, Siegfried, you want to say something?
Yes, please. This chit is not the same what is included in Satchitananda. It's a different chit, isn't it?
Same chit.
Same chit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is chit, is root chi. It's interesting root from which we have the meaning of piling up, gathering to one spot, yeah, collecting, collecting, kind of putting into one spot. And from here we have chitti as the vedi, as the altar to which we focus, bring totally everything to one spot. Yeah? And chinote, chinute, these are two roots in the fifth class, in Atmanepadam and in the active and middle voice. They are both used in the sense of paying attention, focusing, and also collecting, piling up. Yeah, when you pile up, yeah, chitti is also a pile of things. So you have, and from here we have chitta, another interesting word, which is used in Yoga Sutras, and not only in Yoga Sutras. Sri Aurobindo gives a very vast explanation of chitta. Chitta is something which we collect over lifetime, yeah, and which is collected not only by us but by all species. It's subconscious response to any phenomena in the world. Yeah, so we know that the fire burns. How to react to? We have fear. We run from the animals attacking you. All this is inbuilt in our past experiences, and we know it as immediate reaction. So it is chitta which is actually making us quite mechanical in operations. We are not thinking how to stretch my hand to get this and to drink. I know how to drink. I know what it means. I know how it tastes, to proceed. So all this kind of memory of interaction with the world and its response is built in that subconscious knowledge response, which is also chitta, which is piled up the whole experience from the past and present, which is determining my reaction, my knowledge, my feelings, my response, my language. All what I use is built up and stored somewhere there. So when the Yoga Sutra starts with Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it means that Chitta has vritti, the rotation of Chitta, automatic response of Chitta has to be stopped. Once it is stopped, we will have an experience of what we truly are. Otherwise, we are kind of responding automatically. So you see so much in Chitta and Chit and...
Excuse me if I'm a little bit more deep in this. Sure. There's a name of a deity, tantric deity, called Chittamanitara. What's mean Chita and money together? Chita money, Tara. Chita
Money is the jewel, yeah, of the, what do you call it? The Om Mani Padme Hum, you know this, yes, from Buddhist. Money is that the jewel or the pearl, could be, usually mukta pearl, but could be pearl, could be jewel. The jewel of Chitti, of the consciousness, yeah. So she is the jewel of. I do not know the tantric deity, but I can translate the name.
Yes, thank you. Okay, it's clear like this. Thank you.
Well, Chinnamasta is one of the forms of Durga. This one where she cuts off her own head. But in this case, the Chinna is isn't that the past passive participle of chid?
Oh, I do not know. Maybe he pronounced it differently.
No, he said differently. He said Chinnamani.
No, he said Chitti Mani.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it is not, if it is the Chinna or some other word, then yes, it could be cut or something.
Vladimir, can I ask you a question on the pronunciation? It says over here Vedanang, I'm just wondering, it should be Vedanan, like with the na, or with the like Danushwara, with the, like on that same connotation. Like I wanted to ask about like Vedanshi, would it be like Vedangshi or Vedanshi, like with the N, like, because I was just wondering because of the different rule, of the palatals. So I'm just wondering, should it be with a nya or a na?
Yeah, it depends what is following. Yes, if after the nasal there is dental sound or palatal or cerebral, so the nasalization will adopt the same, like sinchati, munchati becomes nye, yes? But because ch is there, palatal. But vindati or limpati, lumpati becomes m before p, or vindati becomes n before d. So it's nasalization is always adopted with the next consonant. If it
So with the Vedangshi, there is a sha following it, but it is a sibilant, so it is not those four mutes like the hard non-aspirate or hard.
If it is she, then Vedanshi will be the pronunciation, but they will not write Nishi. It's very rare that they would do that. They would write Vedanshi, yeah, but pronunciation most probably will be Vedanshi, yeah, soft.
Like with the N, right? Because in the English everywhere it's written N, but some people say it's Vedang, so that's why I'm just wondering, so on what basis is it following na? Because it's followed by a sha, like
sha is palatal, so the pronunciation of the nasal will be also palatal, nye, Vedanshi. But it will not be written with nye, it will be written with dot on the top. Mainly.
Yeah, and if in English, then how it would be, like D-A-N-S-H-I or D-A-N-G?
No, you will write nu Vedanshi, that's it.
Like N, English just an N, right? Not
N or M, it's up to you. Yeah, some people write Sanskritam, others write Sanskritam. So it depends how you treat it. Yeah.
But it wouldn't be NG, right? Vedang N-G-S-H-I, right? It wouldn't be. It will be V-D-A-N-S-H-I, not.
Maybe we can discuss this separately. You need it for the name or something. We can look into.
Because
we can look into this separately because there are options here, and I want to know better because we can meet separately on this. Here Vedanam is just normal m, sama vedosmi, yes, it's just m, but it is written as anuswara because next is consonant. Whenever there is next consonant, there is always anuswara. This is the orthography of Sanskrit. Nasals are always adjustable to the next vowel. Yeah? But writing is a big thing, especially in English. When you started English, I stop here. Everyone writes in his way. If we write in Devanagari, it's another matter. Okay, some other thoughts on this? No, it's enough. Exhausted one, totally. Yes. Rudranam Shankarashchasmi Vittesho Yaksha Rakshasam Vasunam Pavakashchasmi Meru Shikharinam Aham Rudranam. Of all the Rudras, I am Shankara. I am the Shankara is Shiva, actually. It's one of his major names. We know Shankara as Shankaracharya, but Shankara is the famous name of Shiva. Shamkara, doing Sham. Sham has meaning of the peace and also of bliss, like something blissful peace, as it were. Peace and bliss. So among all the Rudras, it's interesting because Rudras are very powerful beings which are kind of creating turmoils, destroying the enemies. He is the one who creates the peaceful bliss, or blissful peace. So among the Rudras, he is the blissful peace creator, or that is Shiva. Vitta Isha, Vitesha, so the Lord of Vita, the Lord of the what do you call it? Treasures. Huh? Literally, Vita is what is acquired, of all what is acquired. From root vid, what is discovered, of the Lord of the wealth, that is Kubera, of Yaksha Rakshasam, of all the Yakshas and Rakshas. These are two groups of beings, mythological beings, but they are not only mythological, they are psychological. Yakshas is the spirits, these kind of spirits which are difficult to define, yes, which can take different shapes, different forms. They sometimes visit you in the night, they live sometimes in the houses. And Rakshas. Rakshas is another creature which is scaring you, which is creating fear. It's from root Raksh, actually, to scare away. Rakshati, to protect by scaring away. So Rakshas and Yakshas, among them he is Vitta, Isha, Vittesha, Kubera, the Lord of Wealth. I do not know why. Don't ask me why.
Sorry, Vladimir. I heard about Pisasha and Asura, and between them the Rakshas. But Yakshas is the first time I heard it.
Yakshas is a very general term, which means anything and everything, and nobody knows what is really Yakshas for sure. Something undefinable. It's like there is some presence, power, but very difficult to define. Of course, they have their own presence and power and so on, but yes, Rakshas, Paishacha, you're correct. Asura, we know who they are, but Yakshas is very elusive, very difficult to define. And that's why in Kena Upanishad, he revealed himself, Brahman revealed himself to the gods as Yakshas. And they asked, who is this Yakshas? We don't know. Yakshas means kind of spirit, spirit.
Supernatural beings?
Supernatural being, very good. Thank you. You found the definition, very nice. Supernatural, some presence, being, force.
I think you've told the story of the yaksha that the Pandavas encountered in the enchanted lake, where one by one they drink in the lake and are left unconscious until Yudhishthira is able to save them by answering the difficult questions.
Right. You see something undefinable, not shaped into particular form or being. Some voice comes from somewhere, from the lake, or yakshas, the presence in the mountains. Many of us had experiences with undefinable spirits and presences. Yeah.
They have a tremendous physical power, but no physical form.
Yeah. And interestingly, they do something which is also not very clear what it is. Yeah, it's never something to only. It's like Sphinx. What do you say? They're protecting something. Yes, usually they protect some knowledge or some. In this case, the wealth. They're protectors of wealth.
Are they vital physical hostile forces as well?
I think they are vital forces, yes.
And then they can connect with physical as well? They can...
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but don't have an embodiment in the physical, yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
At least I don't know. But literature is so rich that if you find something, so don't be kind of disappointed in my definition. Yeah. So there are many stories. But what I know, I just share with you. If you know something else, please share. Vasunam pavakasyasmi. And about vasus, there are 8 vasus, as you know. I am pavaka. I am the flame, the agni, the purifier. The agni is considered to be the major vasu. Vasu is interesting term. It's from root vas, to shine. Sri Aurobindo translates vasu as luminous dweller. Yeah? Within the substance. So all the devatas, all the godheads who are embodied in the who come down for the action within our being are called vasus. It can be anyone, Indra, it can be great Adityas. They become vasus when they are involved in building up from within our substance, when they come down. So it's in the Rig Veda. In the later literature, there are 8 vasus, as you know, one of which was Bhishma Pitamaha. It was the 8th vasu, was the naughtiest one. And they stole the cow of Kamadhenu, and they were cursed to be born on earth. And one by one, Ganga released them, threw them into Ganges. And the last one, the king stopped her from throwing into Ganges, so he had to live his life. And the whole Mahabharata starts with this Vasu being embodied. Many people consider the Mahabharata story is not about even Krishna, not about Pandavas. It's about Bhishma. It's Bhishma's story. And we can see that it goes on till book 5, Dharma, Parva, where he speaks. This is the biggest book where there is this battle of taking place, and he is already lying down on his arrows, being pierced by arrows, and tells the whole knowledge of Dharma. The longest book, the longest dying of Bhishma, which he actually suggested. He suggested how to kill him, yeah? Because they couldn't kill him. He was immortal. So he gave up his immortality to Pandavas for them to win, because he sympathized with them. So now, this is one of the vasus in the later literature, but not in the Veda. In the Veda, this is a very interesting classification. In the Veda, everything works a bit differently. These words have deeper meaning. You know? They have some kind of functionality. You know? So we call the gods like Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, Maruts, yeah, all of these ganas, groups, they have a particular framework where so any of the gods can become Vaso when he's involved, yeah? Or Vishvedevas. All the gods are Vishvedevas if they are acting on the universal plane. Yeah? So you could immediately see it in the hymns, yeah, how they are using. And that's why it is so confusing, especially for the scholars who think about these names as names of assigned deities, yeah? As if they are assigned to particular deity. It's not like that. It's a functionality of any deity. Yeah? And then once we take this look, we will see that Rig Veda is becoming very interesting book of psychology.
I've heard that explanation in terms of Indra as being a position holder. He's the chief of the gods in a certain categorization. But there are different Indras for different periods in cosmic history. But is that also true for Agni, Soma, Rudra?
Any one of them can be as in the leading position if he takes the position. Moreover, they can combine their forces, as Sri Aurobindo says. They can come together. There are hymns to several deities like Varuna and Vishnu, or Indra and Vishnu, and Indra and Varuna, and to all the Adityas, to all the Vishvedevas, and so on. They are Indragni to Indra and Agni. They combine their efforts. And Sri Aurobindo says it's very difficult for us to see, because our mind is not used to this distinction of different presences within particular action. Yeah? So we are treating them as if they were human beings or some kind of personalities. Yes? And we lose the track of what they are doing and how they share their qualities with each other. Indra can share his qualities with Agni, and Agni with Indra, and with Vishnu, and that becomes a very interesting psychological, spiritual combination, which is telling us something, what is going on.
That's a totally new concept in literature for me, where the actors share their essence, their character. And it's flexible. It's flowing from one to another and back and joining and rejoining, recombining.
Yeah. And Sri Aurobindo says this is the qualities of higher mind which we do not kind of have in total possession. Partially we have. And because of that, our rigid mind is looking black and white. Here it ends and there it starts, another name, another day. Yeah? But it's not like that. In the Veda. If you look at from the higher perspective, you will see that these forces act for the sacrifice. They come together or in their own order, and they mix their kind of qualities for the efficacy of that sacrifice.
But it's consistent with intuitive knowledge by identification.
Absolutely.
Which is still much below supramental knowledge.
Oh yeah. We are not speaking about supramental. We're speaking on the overmental level maximum. Intuitive, overmental, and even higher mind can see this without much of a problem, I think. We also should not be carried away by the names and by the words. The higher mind frees us from this kind of identification of the qualities and characteristics as fixed to a particular name or word. This is the freedom of Sanskrit, actually. You see how many words we derived from Chetana, from Chit, yeah? How many concepts can come into life from one particular root. Yeah? It depends where you apply, to which context you apply, you get a new setting, new meanings. This capacity of recognizing how the meanings are produced is a capacity of a higher mind. Actually, Sanskrit teaches us this. It helps us to acquire this capacity. Yeah? To be free from the fixed meaning with a word, because it's not fixed. It's one of the contextual meanings, one of the applications. We have to see the root, the meaning of the root, and then we understand the vaster application of this action of the Devata. And also Devatas and Rakshasas and all these creatures we have to see as particular activities of consciousness on that level. And you can root vri, for example, to choose or to cover, vrinoti, vrinute, yes? And you will see that there are several deities opposite to it. On one side it is Varuna, who is all-covering sky, and on the other side it is Vritra, obstructing the movement, yeah? From the same root. So they don't even care about that one is totally positive, another is totally negative in a way in our sadhana. So they do not have that flavor of positive or negative application. Yeah? So the roots are indifferent to the application. And then once you start applying, you arrive at specific meaning. I hope I don't confuse you with all this.
No, it's essential for understanding Sanskrit because you have the positive, negative, sometimes opposite denotations and even opposite connotations from the same word.
Absolutely. Look at this. Rakshati is protecting and Rakshas is the demon. Mm-hmm. So they don't bother that it is from the same root raksh to scare away, because scaring away, when you scare away the spirits, bad spirits, you protect. It's a contextual meaning. It's not the central meaning. The central would be to push away, to scare away, yes? To separate, raksh, even there is something in it very powerful, cutting, yeah, separating. Yeah, so this separating, cutting, making it away, moving it out, is not allowing it to come in, is already in both words, but in totally different usage. And it is full of these. Yeah, you can see it in every word nearly. Yeah? Each word may have many meanings. Ari, the word Ari has a friend and enemy. So you have to really go deep and see why Ari is enemy and why Ari is friend. How it can be. And you will find that it is neither enemy nor friend. It is something else, which is in contextual application gives us enemy and friend. It is from root 3 to be active, to be self, so to say, dynamically self-established, and only such a person can be a real friend and real enemy. So, and here you are. If he is on your side, he is a real friend. If he is against you, he is a real enemy, because he will not give up. You cannot buy him out. You cannot convince him in something with propaganda. No, he has his own conviction. From here, riju word in another with extension ju, sincere, straightforward. Yes, this word ri is very powerful. Yeah? From here, ritam, ritu, all these words. So if we dive deeper into how Sanskrit build up the meanings and the sounds, it is becoming amazing, because there is much more sense and meaning in it's going deeper into our psychology of understanding who we are, how things work, how meanings relate, yeah, and it is all deeply psychological. I confused you even more with all of it, going to rhythm, ritu. Okay, now we are following, we go further. Purodhasam cha mukhyam mam vidhi partha brahaspatim senaninam aham skandach sarasam asmi sagarach. Of all the Priests, I am the major, know me as the major Brihaspati. Of all the leaders of the armies, know me as Skanda. And among all the rivers, know me as Sagara, yes, as the ocean. These are the manifestations of the Supreme Lord in nature. Maharshinam Bhriguraham. Among all the great rishis, I am Bhrigu. Bhrigu, son of Varuna, we read Taittiriya. Giram, of all the voices, Asmi Ekam Aksharam. I am one syllable of all the voices, and that is Om syllable. Yajnanam Japa Yajnah Asmi. So I am Japa among all the sacrifices. You know Japa. This kind of very low voice speaking to yourself mainly. Yeah? Like Svadhyaya. Sthavaranam Himalayach, and among immobile I am Himalayas. Ashvatha Sarvavrikshanam, Ashvatha among all the trees. Devarshinam cha Naradach, among all the Devarishis I am Narada. Gandharvanam Chitraratha, among Gandharvas I am Chitraratha. Siddhanam Kapilo Muni, and among Siddhas, among the realized, or Siddhas, simply I am Kapila Muni. You know all these names most probably, you heard of them at least. Each of these names has the whole history, and maybe the whole hour will go to explain who they are and why they are there, what they mean, but I'm just sliding through. Uchchaih Shravasam Ashvanam Vidhimam Amritodbhavam. Uchchaih Shravas is the horse which appeared from the churning of the ocean, yes, one of the gifts. It's a well-known horse. Airavatam, Gajendranam, of all the Gajendras, of all the kings, of all the Indras of the elephants, I am Airavatam. Airavat is the one, the elephant of Indra. Naranam, Naradhipam. Naranam cha Naradhipam. Know me among the men as the king of men, as the one who leads men. Adhipa is the one who stands above, the ruler of men. Ayudhanam aham vajram. Among all the weapons, I am Vajra. Dhanunam asmi kamadhuk. Among the cows, I am Kamadhuk. The Kamadhenu, yes, the cow bringing the desires. Prajanashchasmi Kandarpach. Kandarpach is the Kama Deva. Yeah? Kama Deva, I am among all those who procreate. Sarpanam asmi Vasukih. And among all the snakes, I am Vasuki. You know Vasuki snake? Anantashchasmi Naganam. Of all the Nagas, I am Ananta, on which Vishnu lies, yeah, in the higher world. Varuno Yadasamaham. And among all the watery creatures, I am Varuna. Varuna already degraded to the creature in the ocean. Before it was the greatest godhood and greatest Aditya, now he is dwelling in the ocean. Pitrinam Aryamachasmi. Aryaman among all the Pitris. Yamach Samyamatam Aham. Interestingly how Sri Aurobindo translates, I am Yama among those who maintain rule and law, among those who are restricted or under control. I am Yama. He doesn't translate Yama as the Lord of Death, but the Lord of Law. Sri Aurobindo never likes Yama to be translated as the Lord of Death. There is a reason for it. I spoke about it in the other presentation on Savitri. Yes, why Sri Aurobindo never calls Yama in Savitri, the Lord of Death. He has Savitri, he has Satyavan, he has all the names, but not Yama. Because he is not the Lord of Death, according to Sri Aurobindo. He is the luminous sun. He is the Lord of the sun, the first who died among us, human beings, and found the way back to the psychic world. He is always coming to save our soul when we die, to show the path. So he sends his Sarameya dogs, or these, in the Rig Veda, I mean, who are accompanying our soul to the world, to the psychic world, to rest. So because the soul may be lost on the way. So he is rather the savior of the soul than the killer of the body. Okay, I will stop here because it's already overwhelming. Vibhutis, there are varieties. He's everywhere, in every form. The divine is present in the best form of all. I know it's a little bit descriptive, so there's not much to say. We tried to do something similar with qualities, like sincerity, humility, these qualities are the qualities of the divine mother here in this manifestation of Aditi. I think that these are her Vibhutis. If you look at them from this perspective of Vibhuti Yoga, we will find a lot of meaning, psychological meaning in these faculties, in these qualities. To be sincere, to be humble, to be grateful, to aspire, to be courageous, to be receptive, to be generous. These are her qualities. And qualities of our soul.
So Vladimir, you've mentioned that Sri Aurobindo never liked to speak of Yama in terms of the Lord of Death. And in Savitri, there are 4 cantos that have the word death in the title. So is that death of the human, death of Satyavan, as experienced from the human perspective?
No, it's Lord of Death, yes.
Yeah, but he uses the word. I don't know if someone else has supplied the title, but if Sri Aurobindo wrote the title of the cantos, it's there.
Oh, yeah, of course he may use the word as in proper sense, death as dying. Yes. And there is death, the debate of love and death, it's a different death.
Well, again, it's death from the perspective of the human, and that's what Satyavan and Savitri
leaving the body,
to,
absolutely.
is to overcome.
Right.
It's not the ultimate death. It's not death as a final doom. It's death as a step towards immortality.
Here we have, we can discuss much on this topic. What is meant by death and liberation? And I think this death is actually leaving the body, yes? Kind of dying means separating oneself, taking away the soul from the body and going into the world of soul.
Yeah, because in the whole PDF of Savitri, the word death appears 454 times. It's almost, it's like twice every 3 pages. It's in 2 out of 3 pages on the average. So it's a fundamental theme, but it's not. It's the opposite of the doom that normally surrounds the word. It's turning that doom into a triumph.
Yeah.
I hear in your voice something that didn't totally agree.
No. I'm just thinking. I do not see the what you say.
Well, I mean, I'm saying Sri Aurobindo certainly didn't avoid the word. He used it copiously, but he gave it a whole new understanding. He did not accept any conventional understanding of death.
Yeah, you see, this is English language, and death is used in many different places in different sense. We should not be carried by the word. That's what we today kind of try to address with Sanskrit. We should see how he uses it and what it means in application to what. Yeah. That death which debates with love, Savitri, and the Lord of Death is totally, it's the essential force which rules the universe and which has to be conquered. Yeah? And if you ask me, is that really the same death of Satyavan as a human being? I would say yes. But again, you see the difference in application here is quite obvious. So the dying of our body is exactly the same problem which Savitri addresses by debating the Satyavan's life with the Lord of Death. Satyavan is the soul of humanity and has to come back and should not be taken away by death every time, but has to endure, and the body has to endure and to become a suitable instrument for the spirit. I think this is the myth of immortality, one of the major, actually the greatest among all. There are 5 myths, we spoke about them, but the greatest is Savitri, I think. She conquers. She, the Divine Mother, conquers death. And we don't need to leave the body anymore. Our body will be adaptive to the... So it's an immortality in the physical body. It's as I understand it. You may have a different understanding, which is fine. Everybody has some. We are far away from it, but this is something which is coming in the future, I believe, at least. It is what we are fighting for here. It's what we are working for, all of us, to bring this day closer, to bring more light into the physical life, more consciousness, that slowly the whole substance will change and become more receptive of the spirit, till the extent that it would not need to leave. The soul would not need to leave to rebuild another body, to start again from zero, start from beginning. So, but you can see how far we are from this, even ideal. Ideally, nobody even speaks about it. But Sri Aurobindo says that this knowledge will be hidden till the end, and belief shall be naught till the work is done. So we should trust that there must be a way of doing it by the hidden forces. In the Gita, you will not find this ideal. You will find it only in the Veda, in the Rig Veda mainly, and maybe some Upanishads, like very rare, like Shvetashvatara and Kathaka. Few here and there you see those glimpses of the physical immortality. And Sri Aurobindo, this is it. And in between you have all kinds of interpretations of immortality as immortality of the soul. Yes, we are already immortal as souls. There is no need to gain more immortality for the soul as it is already. But we are mortal in the physical body. As Sri Aurobindo says, heaven we always possessed. It is the earth we never possessed. We never possessed the physical manifestation. Heaven is ours. We go there when we leave the body. It's our origin. It's our home. We have to come back home every time and then again restart the journey, reincarnate. I can't believe there are some religions and people who do not even know about this. So what to say more? It is so obvious that must be so. It can't be otherwise. Otherwise, everything is meaningless altogether. What for to live? If I am not going to reincarnate, better I go straight into the darkness. So why should I stay here and suffer? And suffer the senses? Or you disagree? No?
In Buddhism, they say if you don't believe in reincarnation, you can be a Buddhist. Simple like this.
Yeah. They all believe in reincarnation. This is the funny part of it. All right. Somehow, I do not know, we got carried away somewhere again. But we are looking forward to Jayashri. Jayashri, are you still there somewhere? Maybe we will create some courses with you. I'm so thrilled to hear that you did this kind of conscious sleep course. This would be a wonderful gift for us if we could work on it. So let us meet somewhere sometime and discuss this, how we can really build the course.
I'm very interested. Thank you.
Well, we are very interested and to follow up and to make it a sadhana of sleep, which is amazing topic altogether. Because we prepare there to be conscious when we leave the body. It's every night, every day we fall into the preparation for dying. And we are never using it. We are using it only to forget ourselves. As if there is no other way to use this time.
It's a great practice. It's a very great practice and very quickly brings results.
Lovely, and we want to do it with you. And so we will connect with you in these days and so discuss this. Yes. Lovely. Okay, so there's some chatting. So now when someone dies, Sangeet, you can say it. You have microphone, no?
Vladimir, in Ashwapati's yoga, Sri Aurobindo says that death is, he realizes in the higher planes, when Ashwapati is rising in the level of consciousness, that death is gateway to life. He never describes death.
Oh, Mother also says that it's like you're moving from one room to another.
Right.
Just look at ourselves. When we were in the womb, we lived one life, and then we were born. We died to that womb. Yeah, we entered another space, another room. So it's in the same way, So we move into another room and change the shape, the formation of our surrounding. But it doesn't mean that we stop being or something. I had a very interesting experience with Aster Patel. Maybe Aster from Auroville. We were working many years together on different conferences and so on. So she was telling me her experience because she read Savitri to Sri Aurobindo and the mother. The mother chose two girls, I forgot the other girl. What was her name? So two of them, and from the same class. They were 14 and 16. So she said, you will be, to that other girl, will be reading Savitri, and you to us the death. And she said, Mother, why should I read death? I don't like death. And she took her hand, looked straight into her eyes and said, don't be afraid of death. Death is a great power. And that was the imprint for the rest of her life. So Sri Aurobindo was sitting behind the screen and they were reading this. Their mother created this drama in the school. So they were reading the dialogue between Savitri and the Lord of Death. And Sri Aurobindo was listening. This is amazing. Somebody read Savitri to Sri Aurobindo. Esther is still there in Auroville, so you can visit her and ask her about her experience reading Savitri to Sri Aurobindo, the lines of death.
I went to Astor Patel's house.
Oh, yeah. She lives in this, yes, Auromadel. Right. Great. Yes, about this, what you said, that Mother guide to the psychic world for the devotees. You know that Mother created the passage. This is in agenda, which is supporting all the souls to travel to the light. So you don't need to be troubled by other forces from the vital world in this transition. Yeah, just call the Mother, and that passage is already arranged, and she speaks in agenda that she created for all beings, not only for the devotees or something.
So how does that work, Vladimir? The vital and mental beings go through that passage, or just the psychic being? All three?
I think psychic is what is precious, what is being attacked. The rest is going to its own source, so to say. We acquired, we took all the elements from the nature, from the mind, from the vital. It belongs to that realm. Actually, it's not our thoughts. It's not our words. We all selected and collected it in accordance with the psychic need of development. That is the most precious. The rest is instrumental, and it goes where it belongs. And in that sense, the Buddhists are totally right. Sanskaras belong where they belong. They don't belong to us. The only thing they didn't come to the end is the element of soul. And that's how Buddhists lost to the Advaitists, to Shankaracharya, because there was only one question asked from Advaitins to them. If you believe in the reincarnation, so what is reincarnating then? What is coming back if there is nothing beyond sanskaras? So, and what is being liberated then? So there is no answer to this from the Buddhistic philosophy, because Buddhism is not a philosophy, it's more psychology, spiritual psychology. Very powerful, and it has very powerful methodology and meditation, which helps us to discover our inner self. And then it doesn't name it, doesn't make out of it a philosophy that something is reincarnating and growing in consciousness or something. There's no philosophy. And in that sense, of course, Buddhism lost and left India, went to China and that Japan, and became Chan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. But India became much less under Buddhism because of that. It's quite an interesting story if you know what happened. But till Shankaracharya, Buddhism was very powerful in India, was spread all over, everywhere. But after After these debates, they had debates, disputes, you know. They come together and they dispute. So this question they couldn't answer. What is reincarnating if there is nothing there? That's a good question, actually. But they don't want to call it something. Yeah? They call it shunya, whatever. But that shunya is not totally shunya, as we know. Yeah? It's a fullness of something, some potential fullness of everything. So we can also bring Buddhism in if we want. I heard that Jayashri was also following Buddhism, so now I'm talking to her mainly. And of course, Siegfried is also kind of fond of Buddhism. Yes, Siegfried?
Yes, I learned Buddhism many years before, but I'm not a follower of Buddhism at the moment. I have my formation could be, yeah, but I have a problem with the reincarnation concept.
You have the problem with that?
Yes, for me, what I heard from Dr. Basu is quite brilliant about what is reincarnate is a psychic being, and psychic being is only carry on a few experiences.
Of course.
And these experiences, so special for the evolution of the soul, are only bringing to the collective consciousness, not for for an individual consciousness. They are carrying for the collective consciousness, and the next step, who is using that experiences, is not necessary to be the before, who have the experiences before.
Right,
and
but you see,
for me, it's a more wide and vast and open view. I think I'm more comfortable with that.
Sure. But he addresses the concerns that people are making out of the reincarnation, like me remembering myself in the past. It's not like that at all. That's what he wants to say. It's the impressions what we got from our personal life, from our psychic. Psychic is deeply individual. It's not a collective. The impressions what we got, the truths which we experienced, are important both for collective and our individual development, growth of consciousness, both. There is no contradiction in here. It's just a matter of talking or explaining. He addressed the issue that many people believe that they remember past lives. It's very rare that you could really remember some glimpse of past life which is true, which is not imposed by vital forces or some impressions from the mind. It's very rare. That's he addressed.
I think this concept of individuality is very important. I'm very comfortable with that idea of or what that feeling of individuality, but I can make this discerning, this discrimination about the library of the outer being. The library of the outer being is not for passing lives. It's only a library, and this kind of library, maybe some very good books, like a very good experience, they can be to the collective, and another psychic being can choose any of that books and carry on with the next life and go forward. I think
yeah, mental, vital, all this is the resources from which we build our necessity of development here, this being which is built like this, Vladimir, a particular body, particular education, particular parents, particular upbringing, particular mental and moral qualities which were imposed and brought from my culture, from my parents, from my education, language, everything. I inquired, I took it for building something which I need, I need. And of course, there is a need of collective, otherwise it would not be granted. All these, I took it from collective. Everything is taken from nature by me, who is not nature. And that small me, very small, hardly noticeable anywhere, is that psychic spark which is kind of organizing life around it and growing through it, using it for its own growth and possibility to stay and to become more and more conscious. And certain things are illumined in the moment, like one thought, one feeling, and that one thought and feeling in a particular context may be remembered for some reason, or maybe not, maybe given away. It's not really even important, really, to remember. Yeah? It's not.
I think if you use the example of our own life, because it's the most closer and most truth we can use it. When you are using the technology of the computers or technology or the iPhone or whatever, you are using like yours. It's a collective knowledge, but you take that knowledge and you are using like yours. For you,
absolutely.
There is no difference. It's no difference about your develop and the develop of the engineers of Silicon Valley. You are using, you are fused, you are melding in this use. I think this is what's happening in lives.
Absolutely.
It's not only next life; it's lives in general world in lives. Lives we are using always, not only what we are doing, but what our collective are bringing to us. And then if you take the thread back, you can take any gift, but maybe you are not completely connected with that gift when this gift is produced, but you are connected with the gift because you are part of the collective.
Yeah.
Even if you are individual.
Yeah, I can take any gift, not only mine.
Right.
I can take any achievement, yes, for my development later. That's how we contribute to the collective. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling this is the most closer of my own truth.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Lovely. Okay, we can close with mantra. So we found something which was kind of appealing to all of us. Great. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.